Hello everyone, this is Adeline from Design Workshop. We're going to give it a few more minutes until we start, so hang on.
Adeline, do I start as soon as we go live again?
We are live, and yes, I'll toss it off to you in just a couple minutes.
Okay.
All right, Glenn, it looks like we've got about 27 people, 28 people and counting, so if you'd like to get started, I'll toss it off to you for introductions.
Great. Well, thank you everyone for joining. I don't know if the rain's hit you down there, but it's been a soggy day here in North Carolina. We look forward to sharing some work we've been doing since the last time we met and getting your feedback tonight on the comprehensive plans, mostly focused tonight on growth management and economic development. This is us. We've been working hard with the county most of this year. Kurt Culbertson is the chairman of Design Workshop. He's been leading the content of this work. He has a home in Spring Island, so has some skin in the game. Emily, I'm Glenn Walters, Brenna Laffey, Adeline, who you will hear a lot of tonight, and Lindsay have all been working hard on this project. We're well into the process now. We started out gathering as much information as we can. We drove the county's GIS director crazy and reached out to as many people as we could to gather base information so that we could understand what was happening in the county, both from an environmental standpoint as well as a growth standpoint, and have created a pretty large database that's really helped our understanding and our ability to communicate with people around what's going on down there. We held a whole bunch of stakeholder meetings with key department heads, key people in the community, various interest groups. We've, if you remember, back when we could get together, we had a workshop related to vision and priorities on March 4th and 5th. We then had a couple of meetings last month, August 13th and 20th, on the green print plan, and where we talked about different types of environments and how to prioritize those for conservation, as well as the tools that we might use for those. And tonight, as I mentioned, we're going to talk about growth and economy, using the vision and the open space discussions as a springboard for that. After tonight, and after a little bit of time for people to get to the website and take the survey, which is really important for our communication with the community, given that we can't be together, we will pull all of this information together and create some strategies and an action plan and some direction for both the green print plan and the comprehensive plan. And right now we are on schedule, if we keep hustling, to have both of those done by the end of the year.
All right, Glenn, I'll take it
Tonight,
from here. Hello, everyone. Oh, yeah, go ahead, Glenn.
Oh, no, you've got it. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. This is Adeline. In today's presentation, we'll be going through what the 2030 Comprehensive Plan Update is, why it is important, considerations for future growth planning, where can future growth occur, tools for growth management, economic development, and then you'll have a chance to weigh in. We'll have a 10-minute Q&A, and then we'll have some live survey questions. For this webinar, we suggest you use your desktop or a computer. However, this app works on both the computers and mobile phones. You'll see that you can click the red arrow to show your control panel, and you have options to dial in and listen by phone. You can raise your hand at any time and ask questions. Under the questions bar, you can type your questions and hit send to share a question or comment with the moderator. We suggest you view this in full screen mode, and you have the same capabilities on your phone. You can share a question or comment, change your audio, or raise your hand, and you will all be muted during this presentation, but I will try to let you unmute yourselves during the Q&A process. We have a lot of attendees today, so any questions that we can't get to, we will follow up with and post on the website. And with that, let's get started. Beaufort County's 2030 Comprehensive Plan Update. The Comprehensive Plan is a countywide planning tool that outlines goals, policies, and implementation strategies, which are supported by data and technical analysis, developed with a thorough public review process. The overall purpose of the comprehensive plan is to enable government officials and citizens to anticipate and constructively deal with growth and change in the community, and to encourage the development of a safe, healthy, orderly, and distinctive living environment. It addresses 9 elements mandated by the state of South Carolina through the South Carolina Local Government Comprehensive Planning Enabling Act of 1994. And those elements are natural resources, cultural resources, land use, population, community facilities, priority investment, economic development, housing, and transportation. This update also includes the added element of resilience, which weave in strategies to help maintain quality of life in Beaufort County for generations to come. The comprehensive plan is undergoing one of its regular 10-year updates, and we're asking Beaufort County residents to weigh in and guide our next steps, so that the updated plan can inform decisions about using public policies to direct future growth and economic development strategies, as well as influence other planning efforts. As Glenn mentioned, to kick off the 2030 Comprehensive Plan Update, we asked you about quality of life in Beaufort County, priorities for natural resources and economic development, land use, and future growth. And if you missed the workshop in March, don't worry, you can find the link to the full results and the comprehensive plan update process at the end of this presentation. Just a few quick notes. During the keypad polling exercise in that workshop in March, you told us regarding Beaufort County's quality of life, participants were most satisfied with maintenance of parks and open space, access to nature, feeling of safety and security, and feeling of community. Participants are least satisfied with sprawling development, housing affordability choices, limited employment opportunities, and traffic and transportation options. On Beaufort County's land use and economic development, participants said that priority land uses should be low-density residential, parks, conservation-based, or affordable housing. Participants also said that priorities in economic development planning and policy should be more job training and education, regional cooperation and collaboration, support entrepreneurship and incubators, and expand outdoor recreation tourism. Lastly, on Beaufort County's future growth, participants said that future growth should be balanced with environmental preservation, focused on preserving what we have, better handled with policies and plans. They said that critical concerns associated with growth are housing affordability, increased traffic and delays, protecting the natural environment, flooding, and stormwater management. And the most important in managing growth are environmental protection, preservation of character, and limiting growth. The comprehensive plan also includes priorities for the community's conservation goals and environmental values outlined by the Greenprint Plan. Both plans are working in tandem during the update process, and the virtual Greenprint Plan workshop was held in August 2020. Again, you can find the link to the full results and the recordings of that workshop at the end of this presentation. During the Greenprint Plan workshop in August, you told us about conservation priorities in Beaufort County. Participants' top 5 choices for those priorities were water quality, critical habitat areas, floodplain protection, open space and trails, and scenic views. Participants' top 2 choices of areas most important for targeted conservation efforts are the Port Royal Sound watershed and Sea Islands. On development in Beaufort County, participants said that no development or limited development should be allowed in the 100-year floodplain. For areas projected to be impacted by sea level rise, they said mostly no development allowed. In areas where it would impact open space and trail connections, they said mostly limited development is allowed. And in areas where it would degrade rural character, they said mostly limited development allowed. Finally, on Beaufort County's future growth, on protecting important land, participants were evenly divided on the emphasis on the county purchasing land versus the emphasis on the county using zoning and ordinances to limit development. And over 50 participants said yes, that the Greenprint Plan should also inform growth management planning. So, why is it important? Beaufort County has a unique natural environment and low country character that is essential to residents' way of life. Both are critical to the health of the Beaufort County economy. These are some of the economic benefits of parks, trails, and open space in Beaufort County. It is a dynamic environment that will continue to change over time due to both human forces, such as development, and natural forces such as storm surge and king tides. These changes could grow more intense if sea levels continue to rise and major storm events increase. And as Beaufort County's population continues to grow, population growth brings with it opportunities such as new industries and commercial uses, more job opportunities, opportunities to sell land for development, construction jobs and service industry jobs, tax revenue to support services and infrastructure, schools, libraries, healthcare, parks, and open spaces, and diversity. However, growth also brings challenges such as loss of native landscape and rural quality, threats to the natural environment, increased perviousness, more water to manage, potential loss of character and sense of place, increased costs to service and support residential growth. In addition to those challenges, there's also growing concern about increased loss of freshwater wetlands, degradation of water quality, and the loss of critical habitats. It is projected within the long-range transportation model that there will be close to 44,500 additional people both permanent and seasonal residents over the next 15 years. This is how that number of people breaks down. Seasonal residents, people in unincorporated Beaufort County, and the municipalities. A 2019 analysis by Tischler Bice, a fiscal, economic, and planning consulting firm that was hired by the county, suggests that growth could accelerate even faster with those additional 44,500 people being added by 2030, which is within the time frame of this comprehensive plan update. And Glenn, do you have something to add here?
Well, yes, the municipalities have been really helpful in trying to help us understand growth, and they've mentioned that within their boundaries, at least a couple of them that have gotten back to me, that there's land within the municipalities to continue to accommodate growth, as many as 10 to 12,000 people within the municipalities.
Great. While the additional 44,500 people may sound daunting, there is land that is already entitled, serviced, and available for development and building within the counties and municipalities legacy planned unit developments, or PUDs. These are some examples of those. In total, the existing PUDs can accommodate close to 43,000 people based on available lot inventories prepared by the municipalities and the county when using countywide average people per household quantities. This almost completely covers the projected growth within the transportation model for the comprehensive plan period. And this is a map of those PUDs in the county. Additionally, each of the municipalities, as Glenn noted, recognizes the importance of infill development within their boundaries, adding to the projected population that can be accommodated now and into the future.
So I'd like to say that again.
Go ahead.
On this slide, again, so the PUDs were quantified based on available lot inventory, and we applied population numbers to those based on their zoning to get to that number of people, which mirrors pretty closely the growth projection. And as I mentioned, the municipalities have been working with me to try to better understand, or working with us to better understand developable areas within their boundaries. And so far, anyway, we're thinking there's another 10 to 12,000 people that can be accommodated through infill development or development of a vacant land area within the municipalities.
Now we'll go through the considerations for future growth planning. There are many existing PUDs, towns and cities with their own plans, and Northern Beaufort County growth boundary, state-owned land, the Joint Use Land Plan, and other community plans which define how certain areas of the county have chosen to grow and develop. These limits further define the comprehensive plan's reach. And when natural environmental constraints are factored in, such as wetlands and hydric soils, projected sea level rise, flood zones, along with community-defined conservation values like rural and protected zoning and protected lands, and development requirements, including planned unit development and parcels under a minimum lot size in those areas outside of this study. This creates potential limitations on where growth can be best accommodated while also retaining balance, sense of place, environment, and culture. The white areas on this map are what are left over after all of those factors are overlaid. Using GIS to map those potential limitations, a suitability study was created to understand land areas of the county that can best accommodate growth and development, and areas of the county that may be best considered for protection and preservation. So on this map, the white areas from the previous map, lands optimal for development, are now highlighted in orange in this study. A build-out projection was then created based on existing zoning to determine how much population growth the currently residential zoned land that was considered the most suitable could support with new development or redevelopment. So here's the zoning of those previously orange areas on the last map. According to the study, there are 4,920 acres of residential zoned land, not rural land, that is best suited for development. using housing densities based on zoning and accommodating spatial needs for roads, stormwater, parks, and open space. The best suited land areas can support over 28,000 people. This is in addition to the growth that is being accommodated within the existing PUDs and municipalities. When we factor in the rural zone land that is not within the floodplain and recognize that it too allows for subdivision and development at a very low density, an additional 14,000 people could potentially live on that land at the allowable rural density that is also designed to retain its character. So here's that previous projection, the 44.5 thousand people, which plus the rural capacity of the suitability study and the existing PUDs. Where can future
Adeline, if I might,
yeah.
If I might, Adeline, so I'm sure you're tracking along, but the purpose of creating that model was to try to understand, as Adeline said, the opportunities for balance, right? Because there's land that's low-lying and prone to flooding that the community is wanting to think differently about, and then there's upland that might be better suited for development. So the exercise for us was really to try to understand, can growth be accommodated while also meeting preservation and conservation goals?
Mm-hmm. So where can future growth occur? Most of the ongoing growth in the county is occurring in the southern portion of the county, adjacent to Bluffton along Highway 278. Land is becoming more scarce in the southern portion of the county, which is pushing growth to Hardyville. Northern Beaufort County uses growth boundaries to preserve rural qualities of Sheldon and St. Helena, while concentrating growth on Ladies Island and Port Royal Island. This has created large areas of rural zoned land, natural preserve zone land, and community preservation areas, which are all defined as very low to low density zones. There are also smaller pockets of growth and development adjacent to Port Royal and Beaufort. It's expected that Ladies Island will add growth and St. Helena's Island will also continue to grow. And now I'll pass it off to Glenn to talk about tools for growth management.
Great, thank you. Accommodating growth while protecting the natural environment and cultural diversity has been a fundamental principle that Beaufort County and its municipalities has shared for a long time. Beaufort County has created and implemented many important tools to accommodate this balance. This includes the Green Print Plan, which we're updating right now. There's been urban growth boundaries created, community preservation districts, engineering requirements for best practices for stormwater, the rural and critical lands preservation program. Your county has zoning, which is pretty significant. A lot of times counties don't even have those things, and that zoning includes zoning for rural lands, and it defines the kinds of places that zoning is has envisioned and wants to be built to. So it's a pretty sophisticated zoning code that you have, development code you have. You have resource protection zoning for that rural land, and then you have natural resource and tree protection standards. So very up-to-date suite of tools that are put in place in Beaufort County. There's some additional strategies that the county can use to guide both current and future development, which can include, number one, designating special development or conservation areas based on environment. Based on the Green Print priority mapping, land areas can be designated that match development standards with their natural environmental condition. These areas would guide new tools, policies, and codes that support a balanced approach to developing within or near sensitive and critical natural resources, protect people from rising floodwaters, help preserve water quality, and mitigate damages from major storm events. The suitability studies suggest that the accelerated 2030 growth projections can be accommodated within existing PUDs, infill development within municipalities, on the high ground and on the rural land areas within the county, while conserving critical natural resources needed for flood protection, including the flood. The floodplain, we know, has traditionally been engineered to allow for its development. The reality is it's getting more and more expensive to build in this area, and it is not known how long flood insurance will remain available. Concepts could still be considered that would create special development standards or densities within the designated floodplain of a new community development that were geared towards low impact development and lower housing densities. Number two, another idea, designate areas for sending and receiving areas of transfer of development rights. Based on the green print priority mapping, land areas can be designated as sending areas, for instance, where the housing units are transferred from elsewhere, and receiving areas where housing units are added. This tool enables lands that are within the green print priority areas to participate economically while also reducing development within critical environments. Number three, create concentrated growth corridors or growth areas. Some areas of the county, such as along Highway 278 or 170 and adjacent to the municipalities, may benefit from higher levels of planning to ensure that they are providing a complementary mix of uses, are offering housing affordability, and are anticipating the potential of increased transit use over time. Number four, create better tools to implement place type areas or community preservation areas. Place types and community preservation areas have been used successfully in Dale, Sheldon, St. Helena's Island, Ladies Island, and Seabrook. Additional areas of the county could be considered for this type of community-based planning so that a more clear vision is established for critical areas of the county that do not yet have plans for them. Number five, coordinate growth within the region. Another strategy would be to coordinate where and how growth will occur regionally in collaboration with neighboring counties and municipalities. This can be combined with natural resource planning to create consistent and shared approaches to achieving critical balance between growth and natural resource protection. Excuse me. And number six, consider growth management policies. Some municipalities have placed annual limits on building permits, put limits on growth, and or restricted where growth can occur, or tied growth to an important metric like maintaining a jobs to housing balance, based on their desire to retain a particular character, sense of place, and or quality of life. We'd now like to talk a little bit about economic development in Beaufort County. Beaufort County's economy benefits from tourism, the military, the retirement industry, residential development, education, and healthcare. Economic development in Beaufort County is made easy by competitive tax rates, solid business climate, and a highly capable workforce. 3 airports are located between 30 minutes to 120 minutes from Beaufort County, providing daily flights via major air carriers. Beaufort County is accessible via major U.S. highways such as 95, and there are major deep water ports within an easy driving distance of Beaufort County, such as at Charleston and Savannah and the planned port in Jasper County. Rail service is provided by Norfolk Southern and CSX railways. Some current challenges, economic challenges for the county include retaining young people and creating jobs for young people, preserving, supporting, and funding cultural resources, a loss of water quality, which impacts the shellfish industries, and an influx of planned communities and homes outside of walking distance to urban centers and amenities. But Beaufort County remains one of the fastest growing counties in South Carolina, adding over 25,000 people within the last 10 years. This growth, many of which are retirees or semi-retirees, has driven the rise in resort, residential, and commercial development, which has expanded our service-related workforce. The county is in the process of creating more economic drivers that will enhance the quality of life and community prosperity, including improving access and mobility by expanding a countywide trails and blueways network, ideally over time to include the more rural parts of the county in addition to the more urban areas of the county. Generating funding for cultural resources. Funding cultural resources in the county so that they are well-supported economic drivers, particularly for the Gullah Geechee community and unique cultural assets of the Low Country. An organized assessment of the attractiveness of these cultural resources could be a part of the plan for generation of funding for places like the Mather School, Naval Hospital, Penn Center, and the Gullah Geechee Cultural Heritage Corridor National Heritage Area. Expanding university networks, diversifying Beaufort County's economy through a growing student population and expansion of university and college campuses, building more schools, and creating educational opportunities. And as you know, your region is served by the University of South Carolina, Beaufort. There's collaborative pipeline programs linking K-12, Technical College of the Low Country, and the University of South Carolina, Beaufort, the Technical College of Low Country, and early college and career programs. Creating a larger, more diversified tax base. Beaufort County's industrial properties are located within 45 to 65 minutes of two major seaports, the Port of Charleston and Savannah, and potentially Jasper County. With excellent access to I-95, the major north-south corridor on the East Coast, as well as other major transportation routes such as US 17, Beaufort County is located in the middle of one of the fastest growing manufacturing and distribution areas in the nation. Creating quality jobs. The county offers proximity to two booming aerospace hubs surrounding the Boeing Dreamliner facility in Charleston and the Gulfstream facility in Savannah, which are attracting aerospace suppliers and advanced manufacturing companies from around the world. Beaufort County is also located close to the rapidly growing automotive clusters in South Carolina, as well as automotive OEMs across the southeastern United States. These successful industries enjoy low operation costs, a business-friendly environment, and access to state-of-the-art workforce training. Workforce education and training. Although the military provides over 2,000 skilled and well-trained potential employees or business owners, as well as an able and ready workforce of its own, ongoing investment in workforce education and skills training will remain important for Beaufort County to perform going forward. Because of these economic assets and a wide variety of natural, historical, and cultural resources, Beaufort County is consistently ranked as one of the most desirable counties to live in South Carolina.
Now we're going to go into a 10-minute Q&A. Brenna will MC for Glenn. So feel free to type your questions in the chat box.
Looks like we don't have any questions yet. If anybody's got any questions, or if you want to raise your hand if you're having a hard time finding the question box.
If there's no questions, we can move on.
All right. Well, feel free to continue typing your questions if you have any. Our next steps, please visit the envisionbeaufortcounty.com website to view the recording of this webinar and the live survey results, which will take in just a minute. View the story map for this webinar and on growth management and economic development, and remind your friends and colleagues to take the survey, please.
Adeline, if I can just add on to that. So we're going to do a little bit of a survey on this webinar, right, as Adeline mentioned, but there's a broader survey on the website that we want you also to visit at your leisure, and you'll be able to look at the story map on your own time and think about the answers to the questions. But it's in that larger survey where we'll get into more detail about some of the things that we talked about tonight.
And hey, you all, just want to mention that we do have some questions coming in now. Not sure if you want to go back and address those now or come back later.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Let's do it.
Great. We had one question, and I'll ask these two questions together. How come I don't see the Corners Community Preservation District of St. Helena on the map, or the Cultural Protection Overlay District? I'm not sure. Those might have been on some of the maps, but there were a lot of maps. But I'll let you all address that.
Well, it certainly isn't intentional that they're not on there. We've done the best we could with trying to pull all this information together, and we appreciate you pointing out that there may be some gaps or things that we have missed. So we will definitely go back and make sure that if there's places that we've missed, that we will add them to all the maps. But we're very sensitive to, making sure those cultural resources are called out and celebrated.
All right. Great. We have another question. What about affordable housing? This is also an economic development issue.
Yeah, well, we understand that, and the community has spoken about that both in our initial workshop, and we've anticipated that to be a discussion tonight. The comp plan will address strategies for providing affordable housing. We don't have those strategies determined yet, but as the process moves along and we hear input from you all, I think there's going to be some questions here tonight that get at affordable housing. We will be able to work on strategies to help with that.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Can jump back in. One quick, easy question: will slides be made available?
You bet. Yeah, this is like we use the term story map, but this whole presentation will be on the the comprehensive plan website, along with the audio recording of the presentation.
Mm-hmm. Someone had a question about the natural resource and tree protection plan. Where, who? Maybe if you all could address how that, how those considerations are related or adjacent to the comprehensive plan process.
I think they're referring to when we showed the boxes of the different efforts that the county is engaged with. Right. Well, the comprehensive plan operates at a pretty high level, and it really does establish the vision and direction that the county and its departments and leadership will take over the next 10 years. So in that respect, it isn't the policy, right? It directs the county to consider and create the policies. So the county right now has several policies in place or in the works that are beneficial from an environmental standpoint, including trying to protect trees during the process of grading property, considerations for the grading adjacent to low-lying areas and areas prone to flooding, and so forth. So the comp plan will consider, based on your input, right, and the priorities that the community places around growth as well as environment, as well as economy and societal needs, those strategies and actions that will help the county to realize its principles and goals and vision, that this plan sets for itself. So I don't know if that answered the question, but things like tree protection ordinances and those kind of things are really the outcomes of the actions that are taken after the comp plan is established.
Mm-hmm. All right.
We have
Here's
time for
another
one more
question. You said you have time for one more question? Okay. We have a couple of questions related to traffic increases and new and proposed residential communities along 170 and how this plan will address that.
Yeah, well, traffic and transportation is always a hot issue, especially when you're growing rapidly. And there is plans for the regional transportation model to be updated, running parallel-ish with this process. We've been in contact with the MPO and the modelers and those sorts of things to make sure that we are in alignment in terms of the where and how much growth questions, where things are going to be directed, how much is going to be acceptable, and those sorts of things, so that there's consistency between the comprehensive plan and the transportation models that are happening with the MPO. And we are also looking at special areas of the county that may not, as one of those slides mentioned, that may not have had the same kind of planning as other areas have. So the area like 170 is one of those where we will, are looking at that area and considering strategies that will enable that area to evolve, towards a vision that's more consistent with the comprehensive plan's vision.
All right, you all please keep sending in your questions. We will address them on the website. And now I'd like to remind you again just to go to the website to view the story map and to take the survey and to tell your friends about it. And now I'd like to jump into the live polling questions. So we're using menti.com for these questions. There will be 20 of them. And I'd like for you to take a minute on your phone or in your browser window to go to www.menti.com and to type in this code. You can also follow the hyperlink that Lindsay will put in the chat box. And I will give you a minute to do this while I pull these questions up. Oh, here's the website also. I wanted to show you this. This is envisionbeaufortcounty.com. So I'll give you a couple more seconds to answer this first question. And anyone that needs more time, please let us know. About 5 more seconds. What is your zip code? All right. Do you live in Beaufort County year-round? Yes or no? About 5 more seconds. What is your age? Excellent. Please choose one or more races that you consider yourself to be. Thank you. Are you Spanish, Hispanic, or Latino? All right, now we're going to do a lightning round on economic development in Beaufort County. Please describe Beaufort County's economy in one word. You can type this in. Oh, wow. This is awesome. Great, thank you all. Now, you'll have a little bit more time to answer the rest of these questions, but in terms of economic development, the county needs to focus on, and choose 3 or fewer, leveraging military spinoff business opportunities, promoting new industries, best leverage the port of Jasper, creating more business parks, and continuing to promote and support tourism, continuing to support land development and building, workforce development and training, improving access and mobility, expanding university networks, generating funding for cultural resources, promoting incubators and startups, or focusing on aerospace and technology. I think I'll start a 10-second timer. Thank you. Looks like generating funding for cultural resources, promoting incubators and startups, new industries, and workforce development and training wins out. The next question is, the biggest threats to our economy are, please choose 3, sea level rise and larger and more frequent storms, losing our sense of place and character, losing open space, rural qualities, and natural environment, loss of water quality, becoming overdeveloped, not allowing enough development, not being responsive to new opportunities, workforce and skills training, and aging population. Remember to choose 3. You have about 8 more seconds. All right, it looks like losing open space, rural qualities, and natural environment is tied with becoming overdeveloped. Our greatest drivers for economic development are, again, this is a choose three: spirit of being business friendly, workforce development, our natural resources, our quality of life, low taxes, affordable housing, our school system, higher education opportunities, and regional cooperation. About 10 more seconds. Looks like quality of life and our natural resources are the two winners. Our greatest economic assets are, please choose three again. The options are location near seaports, access to I-95, military personnel, a prepared and ready workforce, location near Savannah and Charleston, our unique natural environment, tourism infrastructure, education attainment, regional collaboration. I'd like to note that these questions are available again in the survey if you would like to think more on your answers or give us other options. I'll give you guys 10 more seconds. Our unique natural environment, location, and tourism. All right, now we're going to talk about growth management. These will also be a series of choose three questions, and each, there will be 2 questions per map, per focus area. So this is an enlargement of the map. You'll be able to see these maps when you answer the following questions, and I'll just note that you can click on the maps above the questions to enlarge them, and hopefully we'll give you plenty of time to do this, but please let us know if we're going too fast. So for first, north of the Whale Branch River. Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just want to make everyone aware that we have a few questions related to growth in this survey, but we go into much more depth on the survey that's located on the website with the story map. So please also participate in that stories where we'll get into a little bit more, more questions about that.
Yeah, that's very important. Thank you, Glenn. So for this area, your first question is, in this area, the county should work with local communities on, please choose three. Consider higher zoning on the land suitable for development. Consider more opportunities to increase the mix of uses where it is appropriate. Keep the plans and zoning for this area the same as it currently is. Revisit discussions with the community at some later date based on needs. Reduce the amount of housing allowed by zoning. Discussions about this area should only occur if the residents request it. Consider opportunities to create more retail nodes and gathering areas. Promote the development of affordable and workforce housing. Work with the communities on small area plans that articulate land uses and community patterns more clearly. I think I'll set a 30-second timer for this one. Remember to choose three. And we're about halfway there with these live survey questions. About 5 more seconds. All right, thank you. Working with the communities on small area plans and articulating land uses and community patterns more clearly, as well as promoting the development of affordable and workforce housing. And discussions about this area should only occur if the residents request it, are the winners. Next question on the same area. Within the dark teal area, the wetlands and land prone flooding, and the turquoise hatched area, the green print target land zones, the county should, please choose 3 on this one, allow development to occur to existing zoning, inform and educate but stick with existing zoning, reduce the allowable housing density to preserve more open land, promote conservation or conservation-based development, designate it as rural zoning, create a special development standard such as low impact development, use land conservation tools that enable landowners to benefit from owning the land, do not allow development of it, wait and see if it floods, wait and see what happens with insurance. And I'll put 30 seconds on for you all to choose 3 or up to 3. All right, it looks like land conservation tools, development standards, and promoting conservation or conservation-based development are the winners, with reducing allowable housing density to preserve more open land close behind. Next, we'll move on to this area of Ridgeland, Seabrook, Beaufort, and Port Royal, and the questions will be the same. Remember, you can click on the map to enlarge it. So in this area, the county should work with local communities on, please choose 3. And I'll put 30 seconds on the clock.
You're driving them, Adeline.
It's supposed to be a lightning round. We're getting really great participation. Thank you, everyone. All right. Within the dark teal area, the wetlands and lands prone to flooding, and the turquoise hatched area, the target zones for the green print, the county should. I will start the clock. You have just a few more questions, and then you'll be able to weigh in with additional comments again. Looks like for this one, promoting conservation and conservation-based development is the highest scoring yet again. And remember to choose 3 on these questions. The next area is Ladies Island in St. Helena within this map. Please choose 3. Thank you. Small area plans again. Same question. Dark teal area, wetlands and land prone to flooding, and the green print target zones. Choose 3. Thank you all. This is very useful. We've only got, I believe, 2 more areas to focus on. The 278 corridor, 287 corridor, and Bluffton is next. Please choose 3. Thank you. Last question on this area. Five more seconds. Thank you, guys. Last area, 107 corridor, Okeechobee, Pritchardville, Bluffton, and South Beaufort County. In this area, the counties should work with local communities on. Choose 3. You know the deal. Excellent. Thank you for this. It looks like working with communities on small area plans. There's a lot of ties here, promoting the development for affordable and workforce housing, more opportunities to increase mixed uses. Next question. And last question. Choose 3. 30 seconds. All right, you made it. Thank you guys so much. Your input is very valuable to us. If you have any comments, you can type them and they'll flow on the screen in front of us. Thank you for attending. We'll just leave this up for any additional comments. And Glenn, if you'd like to say any other words.
Well, we really appreciate it. And being here tonight was awesome. And if you can help us get the word out, we really need it. When we did the green print webinars, we had similar numbers each night for those. But with a lot of effort, we ended up getting over 900 people taking the survey, which gets to be pretty significant. And we've been working hard, and others have been working hard to try to get the people, across the county to participate. And so anything you can do to help us to broaden this, broaden the participation, get more participation, the better the whole outcome is going to be.
All right. Thank you, everyone.